And we are back with another exciting episode of Rick's Horror Movie Review Show. That's Rick's Rated R Horror Movie Review Show, where we review absolutely everything, and I mean everything that has to do with horror. And of course, that includes, as always, horror movies, horror TV shows, horror documentaries, horror primetime specials from the 1990s featuring Barbara Walters. And I'm Hugh Down. And as we recently found out, we can also do real-life horror documentaries because around here we absolutely love that shit. But if I am honest with you, and I am always honest with you, there's a very special type of horror that I really enjoy, that I gravitate towards. There's a type of horror that I tend to gravitate to, Mrs. Park. And that's horror, of course, that has to deal with the Catholic Church. You know this. And demonic possession. But that's not the only type of horror that I like. I also like found footage horror. And I just realized that there's a genre of horror that I also enjoy. And that's called medical horror. Of course, I also like your typical zombie story or a ghost that haunts your home because it doesn't want to leave. It's there to fuck with you. Too bad. Ain't nothing to do about it. Welcome to our show. If this is your first time here, if you are a returning listener, welcome back. We love having you here. And before my producers start barking in my ears, I'd like to tell you about our socials. And I'm doing things with my hands again. Yeah, if you're not looking at the old YouTubes on the... By the way, if you have Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, you can watch the video there now. I upload video files. Congratulations, me! You can follow us, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lester Hope. You can follow Rick on his YouTube channel. Follow him for more clips. You can also find him on the TikToks, the Instagram, and the Facebooks at Rick's Horror. Thank you so much, Mr. Lester Hope. And before we go on any further, I'd like to introduce the co-host of Rick's Horror Movie Review Show, Billy the AI! That's me. And, we got to get back. We got to get back to doing the show because, you know, it's time to get back to the future, I think. And, and I mean, I just want to enjoy this music. It's so good. I really like it. But anyway, I'm glad to be back here, and let's get the show on the road. Roads, Billy. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Okay, here you go. You got one of these for that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Tonight's episode is a special one because we are talking about a little film called Eli. If you are new around here, we have a simple format that we like to adhere to. If you're not new, then you already know this. Skip this part. Or not! Tonight, I am going to talk about why I decided to review this movie. Why did you decide to review this movie, Mr. Spock? Then we'll go into 4 film facts with Billy the AI. And then I'll tell you what kind of horror film this is. After that, I'll tell you whether or not I thought this film was scary or not. I missed it. I missed it. You again. I have a question about this film. Is this film scary? Get out of here, child. Nobody likes you. You're goddamn right. This is a scary review at the Horror Review Show. What do you expect? Damn you, children! Then I'll talk about the things I like, but not just things in general. I like all kinds of shit, including horror movies, horror TV shows, horror documentaries. Now, I'll talk about the things that I liked about this movie. And then, I'll get into the things I didn't like. Not things in general, there's all kinds of shit that I don't like. No! Things I didn't like about this film. And our brand new segment, Did I Fall Asleep Watching This? Courtesy of a loyal listener down in Brazil. Thank you so much. Couldn't have done this without. And then we'll get into whether or not I thought this film was entertaining. The most electrifying and entertaining man in sports entertainment, The Rock. Do I endorse this film? Find out. And then I'll give this film a rating. We'll get into the context, theological, and then we'll do a plot review, commentary, and of course, as usual, and don't let Billy the AI lie to you, as usual, a script accurate dramatizations of all the scenes that took place in this film. Billy? Oh my goodness, no, they're not script accurate. They're not, the dramatization, the improvisation, they are not script accurate. Not watching the right version of the movie again, Billy. Oh my goodness, I'm never gonna stop saying that. Nope! Part of the show, I'm afraid. Anyway, the show must go on. We'll do an interpretation of an ending if the one's required, and then we'll give the rating again in case you missed it the first time around, or in case you haven't seen it and you want to skip. I am going to try to keep this review spoiler-free. There's a reason for that. Well, I'm not going to keep it spoiler-free, but I'm not going... Typically, I inject commentary into the story, and I'm doing things with my hands again if you're not watching. And, what was I thinking? Oh, yes. Typically, I inject commentary that may, you know, get very spoily, but for this movie, I am going to attempt to avoid that. We're going to make a valiant effort to avoid that. We'll see if it happens. Well, who knows? Really? I understand why you want to do that this time around. But yeah, okay. Are we ready to do this or what? We are indeed ready to do this. So, why this movie? I was searching for films on the old Netflix to see what was interesting. And I've changed my strategy, if I said this before already. There was a week when we were just reviewing junker after junker. And I'm the kind of person who typically does not like to read the descriptions, does not like to look at the previews. I look at the title, and if I like the title, I'll watch it. That has not been working. It worked for a while, but we were getting to the point where I was just reviewing things I didn't like. The things I didn't like! The entire movie. And I kind of wanted to watch a movie I enjoyed. So I started reading the descriptions, and so I was on a Netflix thing, and they showed me a bit of the preview. I didn't read the description. As Netflix tends to do, it goes into a small preview of a film, documentary, TV show, and I said, you know what? Let's watch this. Let's watch this sumbitch. And that's why this movie. All right, let's move on to 4 film facts with Billy the AI. Billy, are you ready for 4 film facts? Yeah, I'm ready, but please no music this time around. Okay, I understand why. Okay, so this is 4 film facts with Billy the AI, and you'll notice that today does not include the word 4 fun film facts. And, I thought this was worth mentioning. I debated whether or not I should include something like this in this, but, I think it's important. Hey, Billy, your segment. Okay. Well, here are the 4 film facts with Billy the AI, and, it's really tragic for me to say this, but one of the actresses, an actress by the name of Kailia Posey, actually passed away. This was her only film role back in 2022, and that's really sad when I found that out, and I debated whether or not I should include it, considering, we like to have a lighthearted approach to things, but, these are important things to tackle, and they're part of life. Unfortunately, she did die under tragic circumstances. And, I thought it'd just be interesting to bring awareness to situations like this. I am not entirely certain what the situation was with this young woman, but I think it was worth mentioning that she did a tremendous job on the film and that she should be recognized for her work. I agree, Billy. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, here's film fact number 2. The screenplay for Eli was actually mentioned back in 2015 Blacklist, which is a list that compiles the best unproduced scripts of the year. And yeah, that's how long this movie was in what they call developmental hell. Well, you know, this movie was released in 2019, so it wasn't really that long. But yeah, I found that to be a very interesting thing. That is very interesting indeed. Please go on. Okay, the next one is about the recognition of the screenplay. The screenplay for Eli. I'm sorry, I messed up. Can I start again? Of course, please, by all means. The fun film fact number 3. The Netflix acquisition was originally set for a theatrical release. This movie was Eli, but then Netflix acquired the distribution rights to Eli from Paramount Pictures, and well, you know, they just decided to make it a Netflix film. Where I saw it. Works for me. Yeah. And the last film fact is about the director Ciaran Foy. You know, he's known for his work in the horror genre. I think primarily for the film Sinister 2, if you've ever seen that movie. It's a good question. I don't recall if I've seen that movie, Billy. Yeah, well, anyway, that's been 4 film facts with Billy the AI, and thank you so much for your time, and please let's go on with the show. Thank you, Billy. Appreciate that. All right, now, what kind of horror film is this? I mentioned earlier that I recently realized that I found out that there's a genre of horror that I had no idea existed, but I'd seen some movies in the genre. I didn't know it was such a thing, but now that I know, we must mention it. Medical horror genre. Now, if you have not heard our review on the autopsy of Jane Doe, go check that one out. That one was fun. It's a really fun movie, and it's an even funner review. But this horror film blends elements from the horror genre. Uh-oh. One of our cameras went black. Whoa! A little louder than like it. Anyway, so this film blends elements of the medical horror genre with supernatural horror. Is this film scary? It's not. It's really not scary. I am going to give this film a 2 out of 10 on the scary scales. I didn't think it was scary. There are some instances where, you know, I might be a little scared, but for the most part, no. Is the jump scare overused? I think the jump scare is appropriately used throughout the film. It's not, you don't see them coming, and they don't use a ton of them. They're used sparingly, they're used appropriately. It's a tool in their arsenal of scary movie plot devices that you can use to entertain the audience, and it's very well done. I never felt like they overused it or they were relying on it. Over-reliant? Over-resilient? I forget. I do engineering for a living. I don't know how to speak. The things I liked about this movie. Sponsored by no one, of course. You already knew that. I love the supernatural horror / medical horror combination. I had no idea that this was a thing, even though I'd seen this thing before. Again, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, go watch that movie. That is an example, I think, of medical horror with supernatural horror elements as well. I like Dr. Horn's playful name. It's a unique name for a rather interesting and unique specialty. Good special effects, not overdone, not unnecessary. I'm looking at you, Star Wars, episode 3, 2, and 1. I love those movies, but Anyway, good special effects. Decent story. I'm sorry. Great story. Decent acting. I don't think anybody's going to win an Oscar or, any sort of acting award for this film, but it certainly didn't feel like anybody was like outclassed or the material what they were giving was like far too much for them to deal with. Everybody did a good job. Good acting. Good story. Really good story. For the most part, well executed. There are some things that left me wanting more, which is what I'm going to get into. And the things I didn't like, as usual, sponsored as well by no one. Not enough backstory. I wanted more. Give me more, sir. Give me more. Not enough backstory. I needed more backstory on who Eli was. I needed more backstory on his parents. I needed far more backstory on Dr. Horn. I needed more backstory on Haley. I needed more backstory for all the characters in this movie. Not much world building was done. I know you're limited, but this is such a good story that tied these elements of horror, supernatural horror, medical horror so well that I just felt like it merited it. It needed that. It could have definitely made the movie more enjoyable for me at the very least. I'm sitting and I'm asking, wait a minute, where did she come from though? But hold on a second, was this like this? What was she before this, or did she? Do I have to fill in that blank? And it's like I just wanted that to be specifically told to me, hey, this is her backstory, this is his backstory, this is their backstory. I needed more of that. So yes, not much world building. But anyway, beyond that, that's it. Did I fall asleep watching this film? I did not fall asleep watching this film. This film was entertaining. This film was great. It's a great story. Needed more. Is this film entertaining? Without a shadow of the doubt. This film was very entertaining, absolutely. Do I endorse this film? Hi, my name is Rick and I endorse Eli. Go watch this movie. That's right. This camera, that camera, that camera, that camera. Go watch this movie. A rating! 7 out of 10 for Eli. Okay, now I really want to get into some context. And Billy, how we doing on time? I think we're doing good. And let's just keep it going. And let's get it done. Like as usual, let's get it done. Okay, let's get it done indeed. All right, so we move on to the context portion of this film. We haven't done context and a full review in a while. By the way, all that stuff was spoiler free. Now we got to get into obviously things context. I got to reveal things now. Eli has a disease and he's essentially a bubble boy. Now what the hell is a bubble boy? It's a colloquialism. Colloquialism. Congratulations to me. For a rare, but they say it's genetic disorder known as severe combined immunodeficiency, or SCID, SID. Not SID, SCID. This disease became widely known to the public through the story of David Vedder, a boy who lived in a sterile environment, quote unquote, a bubble, to protect him from infections due to his compromised immune system. And here are key aspects of SCID. Okay, so the nature of this disease. This is our backstory because the character in this story, the main story here is the character of the story. The character of the main story. Eli suffers from immunodeficiency, and SCID is characterized by a severe defect in both the T and the B lymphocyte systems. This means, of course, that the body is unable to mount an effective immune response to fight off infections. Now, there's a genetic cause to this. The disease is usually caused by mutations in the genes that affect development and functions of the immune system cells. And the most common form is linked to a mutation in the X chromosome, X-linked SCID. Some symptoms and diagnosis. In early onset, or rather, SCID occurs. Well, there's an early onset of SCID, and it's typically present in infancy and with recurrent severe infections such as pneumonia, meningitis, or bloodstream infections. Like serious business stuff. Unfortunately, failure to thrive. Infants with SCID may also experience failure to thrive, meaning they don't gain weight or grow as expected. And the diagnosis often involves blood tests to assess lymphocyte counts and function. Newborn screening programs in many places now include tests for SCID, and that's good. There are some treatments available, primarily 3. There is bone marrow transplant treatment, which is the most effective treatment for SCID, and it either happens as a bone marrow transplant (BMT) or as a hematopoietic stem cell transplantation (HCCT). Oh my goodness! If you're watching out there, and if you're a doctor, that's how I spell that. Hematopoietic. And this is ideally performed within the first few months of life. This procedure replaces the defective immune system with a healthy one from a donor. Wow. There's also gene therapy for certain types of SCID. Gene therapy is an emerging treatment option, and this involves correcting the gene defect in the patient's own stem cells. There are isolation precautions prior to successful treatments. Of course, patients with SCID must be protected from infectious agents, which historically led to, living a highly controlled and sterile environment, therefore the bubbles themselves. In terms of prognosis, what can we expect? Before modern treatments like the ones I just mentioned, historically SCID was almost always, unfortunately, fatal in infancy or early childhood. The bubble environments provided a temporary solution, but were never intended to be, they were never intended to be part of a cure, and they're not. They're temporary. There is a positive current outlook on treatments for this with advances in bone marrow transplants and gene therapy. That's good to know. And the prognosis for SCID patients has improved significantly. Thank the universe. Many children with SCID who now receive timely treatment can develop functional immune systems and lead relatively normal lives. Wow. That is the subject of tonight's horror film. Billy, you there? Yeah, I just want to give you credit for that, they're trying out that word, kind of got you tied up there a little bit. It did, yeah. A little bit, but yeah, that is good context, good background. It's a real thing that unfortunately kids experience, and part of a horror film. But I'm glad to know that there are treatments or emerging treatments that are giving better prognosis for the kids who suffer from this. Yeah, me too. That's good to know. Shall we continue? Let's continue. Okay. So that was the context. Now, a little bit of illogical stuff. Maybe we'll get into the illogical stuff as it happens in the film. There is one thing I'd like to, and I have it written down later. So I don't need to talk about it right now. We'll talk about it then. Okay. Plot review time! So this movie opens up with a shot of trees outdoors, and it pans to a boy, Eli, who is staring out a window. And then suddenly, Eli goes outside, and he takes a deep breath. And runs through sheets that are hanging, and then the old asthma kicks in. Can't breathe. And I have asthma. I don't know what that's like. And unfortunately, it starts to choke. And he falls to the ground and he begins to scream in pain that it burned, oh, Allah, it burned, oh. This guy's really suffering. And then he wakes up from his dream and he's in a bubble. And then his mother, Rose, shows up and tells him that he needs to do what he needs to do one more time, and that this is going to be the last time any of these treatments. We don't know which one of these treatments he's getting, by the way, not yet. And Eli is the trooper that he is, the hero that he is, as all these kids wearing bubbles are. He says, fuck it, Mom. I don't want to live in this bubble anymore. Let's go do that fucking treatment. And there's a montage of Eli getting ready because he's ready to take a treatment on like a champion. This summer, Eli beats SCID with gene therapy. Or maybe bone marrow transplant. The movie doesn't tell us yet. But anyway, he gets ready and he puts on his hazmat suit and off they go. And this is where I thought I'd address the illogical. Where is the filtration system in this suit? Costume department? Where is the oxygen tank or some sort of air recycling system? Because I sure didn't see any. I'm paying attention. Now, we're a smart audience. We know what's going on. He's wearing a suit, but he's not wearing some sort of filtration system at the minute. It's pointed out. Maybe it's just some stupid fake tiny device that you made up for the movie. That's okay. I'll play along. But you got to play by the rules. You're telling me that this kid has, some form of, SCID, and he requires a bubble. Well, that bubble requires an air filtration system. Ow now, brown cow. Ow now, brown cow. Where was the air filtration system? I'm deducting points for that. Anyway, he puts on his suit, and in the next scene, his father is arguing with the motel attendant because he's getting charged a lot of money for his motel. Yeah, you don't reckon you don't owe me another $80. What? We're only here 2 nights. Well, you were only here 3 minutes ago. It's 9:03, which means I charged you 3 nights now. That's right. You owe me 3 nights. And the dad pulls out some cash and gives him like $50, and he's like, ha! $50? Ha! They move on. Doesn't pay up, but nothing happens to him. And so they're leaving the motel, and some bullies, of course, start making fun of Eli because he's a bubble boy, and he falls, and his suit is compromised, and he's not able to breathe, and suddenly the suit develops a large hole, and he starts having a reaction. But again, where's the oxygen tank? He can't be exposed to the exterior, but there's no way for him to recycle air, so is he breathing carbon monoxide in there? Come on, movie producers. Better than that. So his mother tapes up the suit and calms him down and asks him to make a wish, and he says, Mom, I wish you beat the shit out of those bullies. You go beat the shit out of them right now. Beat the shit out of them, Mom. That's okay, you're an adult. It's totally cool. Honey, I'm not beating the shit out of some bully teenagers, okay? I'm just not. I mean, I might get away with it considering the circumstances, but I'm not gonna do that, okay? Anyway, they go off and, he says he wants Dr. Horn to fix him. Mom, can we just have Dr. Horn fix me? By the way, what a cool name. I've never heard a doctor by the name of Dr. Horn. I wonder if that means anything in this movie. Is it alluding to anything? Are we foreshadowing right now? Maybe. You'll never know. And the family is getting ready to take off, and Dad pulls that some bitch in reverse and starts backing up, and suddenly he runs into the bully's chair, and then Eli flips them off, and they're take that, you bullies! Fuck you! Eli is also a part-time magician, and he's practicing some sleight of hands and magic. Is this your card, Mom? Is this your card, Mom? And they're driving somewhere, and the audience doesn't know where we're going yet. But then Eli sees a ginger. Mom, I see a redhead. Should we trust her? Oh, Eli, your father's a redhead. Of course not. Absolutely not. That's why we have separate bank accounts. You can't trust the ginger. No, you can't trust that kid. Don't even look in that direction. It's bad luck. And then they arrive at some dilapidated looking building. And the door's open. That's not true. It's a sliding door. Beep, 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 beep. And it doesn't beep, but what is? And the door opens up, and Dr. Horn speaks to Eli, telling him to enter.
Hi, Eli. This is Dr. Horn, and could you please, can you just please come in? And your parents have to stay outside, and it's totally for no nefarious reasons. Now, I know that your suit doesn't have an oxygen tank, which is insane, or maybe you just held your breath the entire time you were in that vehicle. Otherwise, you would have poisoned yourself to death with carbon monoxide poisoning. And, yeah, just step in, and we'll close the doors, and then, you'll go through a decontamination process, which is totally not real because, well, you don't have an oxygen tank.
And he goes in, and he goes through some decontamination process, and then the chamber door opens up, and 3 women are waiting for him, and that's Dr. Horn, Barb, and Maddie, and they greet him. And then the parents enter as well, and they're also greeted. Hi, Eli, I'm Dr. Horn. Welcome to our estate. This is Barb, and that's Maddie. And Maddie speaks Spanish. Hola, Eli. ¿Cómo estás? Yeah, hola. Hola, Maddie. Yo hablo mucho español también. Y también soy un mágico. Wow. He's a magician too. And he speaks Spanish. That's very good, Eli. I like it. Anyway, Eli's there, and we now know what kind of therapy he's going to get. Now, this wasn't listed in any of the therapies, unless I'm misinterpreting this, but he's going to get viral therapy. Maybe I misunderstood the treatments available for SCID. If you are a doctor out there, if you are a geneticist, if you know absolutely anything about medical science, medicine, and you listen to this show for some reason, let me know. I want to know. I'm curious. Why don't you just research it on the old internet? They have told me never to go on WebMD. And I listen. Okay? Anyway, Eli reaches his room, and then Eli is told that he can trust Dr. Horn for some reason. You can totally trust Dr. Horn, Eli, said his mother, Rose. She has totally the best of intentions and fixing you right up. You could almost say that we're here to take the devil out of you. That damn disease of yours. Don't you worry. That's what Dr. Horn is here for. And then there's I need to start taking off his suit that doesn't have a filtration system. And again, no filtration system. Anyway, he takes it off, and he's fine in his room because the entire home or the entire location is appropriately equipped with a filtration system that he can somehow now be in there with all these other people. I should have included this in the illogical. I am no expert in medicine, but wouldn't they contaminate him if they were in the same bubble as him? Shouldn't they be wearing filtration systems now? Or shouldn't they be not breathing out into where he is? It's essentially what the bubble system is for, right? So he's secluded in his own environment. I don't know. At that point, why wasn't his entire house the bubble system? Okay, maybe it's expensive. Whatever. All right, you know what? We're just gonna leave it before I get angry. And there's a scene of the parents and the mother is saying, "Oh, Rose, everything I prayed for has come to be true." And the dad says he's always been a faithful man for some reason. I don't know why, but Rose, I've always been a faithful man to you. Do you want to reciprocate and say the same thing to me? Everything I've ever prayed for has come true. We'll go back to Eli now, who is in his creepy room, and the house creaks about. And he peeks out his window, and there's a mosquito who's looking at him like that mosquito naze long. Something scares Eli, and he starts breathing heavily, but we don't really see what it is. And he starts walking back slowly, and something is breathing on the window. And then 3 fingerprints across the window show up. And he runs to his parents' room. "Ah, Mama! Someone's breathing on my window!" Someone's breathing on my window, Mother. It's scary. And he sleeps. He spends the night there. By the way, if you never have an opportunity to sleep with your, you don't have the normal physical contact that you would want with your child, hugging them and touching their hair and caressing them, would you really send him to a room in some crazy house? Wouldn't this kid have slept with the parents to begin with? It's just weird. Anyway, he spends the night with his parents, and mother's hugging him, and they fall asleep. The next morning, Dr. Horn says that his bad dream is a consequence of the immunosuppressant. Your bad dreams, Eli, are totally related to medical science. Those pills I gave you are fucking with your brain, and it's absolutely, and I mean positively, not a ghost. Or ghosts, plural, in this house. You can trust me. I'm a doctor. And now Eli needs to get to his treatment, and his mom asks him to make another wish. Mom, I wish to be brave. Oh, Eli, you're already a brave little boy. You're a brave boy, Eli. And then he's led away to another part of the hospital by Dr. Horn. And he enters the operating theater. And the hero is ready for his treatment. And Barb and Maddie dress him and weigh him. And Eli weighs 3.5 pounds. And then he gets his picture taken by Maddie. Can I see the picture? It's a Polaroid. It's una Polaroid, Eli. You're gonna have to wait a second. I have to do this with the camera. With the picture, I have to shake it like this. Mira. You see this right here? No, I'm not doing andale. I'm shaking the picture. Okay, you're gonna have to wait. Mom. How long is this gonna take? Eli, you know what happened to the boy who asked too many questions, Eli? ¿Sabe qué le pasó? He got answers. Okay, Eli. You're gonna be a fresh boy, eh? Te me estás poniendo fresco, Eli. You know what? Go over there. And then Eli now is on the operating table, and Dr. Horn asks him what is making him sick. And Eli responds, well, Dr. Horn, I have a disease called SCID, which is characterized by a severe defect in both the T and B lymphocyte systems, which, by the way, this means that the body is unable to mount an effective immune response to fight off the infections. Now, it's very clear that in my case, there's a genetic cause to this. My disease is usually caused by a genetic mutation that affects the development and function of immune system cells. The most common form of which is linked to a mutation in the X chromosome, which is called X-linked SCID, Dr. Horn. Wow. Adam, what? I mean, yes, X, you have the picture in picture with the X-Men. That's correct. The X-Men picture in picture, SPID. Are you jesting right now, Dr. Thorn? Dr. Horn? Oh yes, I jest. Anyway, lie down. Mari, bájame la escalpa, por favor, Mari. Oh, here, Dr. Horn, you don't have to yell like that's right here. Here's the scalpel. Bone punch, Mari. Oh, see one bone punch coming right up. Aquí está, toma. Here's the bone punch. Shouldn't this kid be asleep right now, by the way? He's getting some procedure done on the back of his thing, on the side. And he's completely awake for all of this. Wild. And now he's asked to come backwards, count backwards from 100. 100. 90. And he falls asleep, thankfully. But as he's falling asleep, there's a reflection of some creature that looks like something straight out of Resident Evil. Then he wakes up to rocks on the glass. Huh? What's that? Who's throwing rocks at my window? And it's that redhead from earlier. Honey runs down and he opens up a creaky door to an atrium, and Haley scares him again. That girl's name is Haley. And Haley makes fun of him. Oh, hi, Bubba boy. Oh, you're a magician in training? What's this? And Haley does this thing where she materializes fire in the palm of her hand. Fire. And Haley's not impressed with Eli's crappy magic. Pick a card, any card, Haley. That's really shit magic, Eli. Dr. Horn does not like Haley, and Haley says that this place is a freak fest before bowing out and saying sayonara, Houdini-san. Takes a bow. And Eli he walks back somewhere in a room full of empty old-timey wheelchairs, and suddenly there's a reflection of a ghost girl there, and it's haunting him. And the girl is now behind the curtains, and the curtains open up, and it's just his dad, Walter White. And then we see a scene of the family now saying a dinner prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, if I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. I pray the Lord my soul to take. And hush, little baby, don't say a word. Never mind that noise you heard. That's just a beast under your bed, in your closet, in your head. Exit liar. And then they all start eating. And then Eli is telling his family that there's a girl roaming. I saw a girl here and she kind of looked like a ghost. It's creepy. All right, son, I get it. The food looks like shit and you don't want to eat it, so you're making up some goddamn story about the ghost girl. Well, guess what? You want to go talk to the ghost girl? Go talk to the ghost girl, otherwise you're going to eat this food. Yeah, it looked like shit. Well, guess what? It tastes like shit, too. At night, Eli looks up the magic trick that Haley had performed earlier on how to light a twig on fire, but suddenly he hears a noise. And they pan the camera to the mirror, and there's an entity behind the curtain. And Eli asks who she is and demands to speak to her manager. Excuse me there, ghost in the curtain, my name is Eli, and I've been in this room for 3 whole days now, and I demand to know who you are. I need you to identify yourself, show me your ID, okay? This is not public property, this is private property, my name is Eli, and you know what, I need to speak with your manager. Eli walks up to the curtain and pulls it away, but there's no one there. And then this entity writes on the glass. Or rather, no, Eli writes on the glass his name. Eli. A-L-I. And the entity responds with, lie. He sees this entity in the mirror, this ghost girl, and she's walking towards him. And suddenly the girl grabs him, blah, blah. It's just Walter White, his dad again. And now, the mother, Rose, wants Dr. Horn to... Dr. Horn, I'm going to have to ask you, respectfully, and I don't want to speak to your manager just yet, but I'm going to have to respectfully request that you lower his medications. Okay. You're the doctor here. I understand you have the years of medical training, of which I have no understanding of. Nor could I ever have considered becoming a doctor because it's simply a realm that requires far too much discipline, that I am not capable of actually providing it. But I'll tell you one thing, okay? I will demand questions. I will have questions and I will demand answers. And if I don't get the answers that I like, I will ask you for your ID. And then I will ask to speak with your manager. So you must lower his medications at once. Presently. Or else. But Dr. Horn says that they need to stay the course because Eli... Now, Rose, I understand, but we need to stay the course because it's only going to get worse before he gets better, okay? Back to the old operating theater, and Eli is getting some kind of clamp on his head and straps on his arms, and Dr. Horn is injecting him. What's this now? And just poking him everywhere. And then suddenly the lights flash. Zoom, and Eli says, "Oh, doctor, it burn, that burn, oh, doctor, oh, Lord, doctor." And now making a special appearance, the sheriff from our episode on Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. Sheriff, can you explain to us why Eli is being set on fire? Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to hear season number 2, but he's getting injected with fire because that's the only way that you can contain the SCID disease. You want to stop that sumbit, you gotta burn that disease down to the ground. That's the only way you can contain SAID. Sheriff, thank you so much for your appearance. And Eli says that it burns and it burns, and he flares up, and Dr. Horn says, Eli, this is supposed to happen, okay? Did you hear the sheriff? He says we gotta burn this sumbitch down to the ground. And then she says to him that the virus that they injected in him cannot cross the blood-brain barrier, and thus they need to drill a hole in his brain. The dad asks the mom if she thinks praying. You don't think that praying is really gonna help you there, Rose, huh? At the dinner table, Eli says that Dr. Horn, Dad, I asked Dr. Horn earlier to show me her identification, and she wouldn't provide it. She's shifty. Then I asked to speak with her manager, and she said that she was the person in charge. She's shifty. Okay, I don't like her. And sometimes her and Mari, they speak in Espanol, and they forget that I also speak Espanol. And they weren't saying anything mean. Actually, they were just talking about, like, quesadillas, which I love. But they were saying some weird shit, like corn quesadillas are actually better than flour quesadillas. Can you believe that, Dad? That's so weird. Ha! Kind of weird shit is that corn? Ha! Corn's for bread. Ha! Corn tortillas, now heard it all. Anyway, Dad says that the good shit in your body is fighting the bad shit. And when you got the good shit that's fighting the bad shit, some shit's gonna happen in between that nobody really knows whose shit this belongs to now. And that's the story of Old Yeller. What? What are you talking about, Dad? And then Eli sees Haley out in the window again, but he hears something in the restroom. Hello? Is somebody using my restroom? Oh my God, I just disinfected the toilet bowl. It better not be. Oh my God. It better not be. Oh, if it's Dr. Thorne, is she using my restroom? Oh my God. And he goes into the restroom, and the curtains are open, but the mirror is foggy. And suddenly he's bleeding from his nose, and he sees an entity in the foggy portion of the glass. And something tries to grab him from the bathtub. But the door won't open, and suddenly he hides in the closet. As he tries to escape, he hides in the closet, and then something bangs its way. And he calls for his mom and his dad, and then the boudreau that he ran into the closet, the boudreau, falls. Well, he's inside, and he pops open, and the doors say, lie. Lie, lie, lie is written everywhere in the doors. And suddenly the parents rush in. Oh my God, Eli! What happened here? How is that thing on the ground now? That giant thing. It's supposed to be upright and vertical against the wall. How is it here? How did that happen? That requires work. But you haven't taken physics to understand that yet. How did that thing get from this point to this point? It's upright and then it's on the ground. He has a little fit and slaps the doctor's document out of her hand and runs upstairs because he demands to speak with the manager again. And then Haley and Eli are now talking in the atrium again, and Haley tells Eli about Perry. Oh, do you know about Perry? He saw ghosts too. Oh, you don't know Perry? Oh, he's the last bubble boy that was here. The cute one. And suddenly he says, or Eli is told, by Haley that the ghosts start to manifest more and more after procedure number 3. And something invisible starts to drag him now, and he peeks at the glass, and there's 3 ghosts. And they're grabbing him and then grabbing him and dragging him into the detox chamber, or the decontamination chamber. And then the chamber is actuated, but thankfully, the hero of this story, Ella, hold on, baby, hold on to me. Dr. Horn, not Thorn, Dr. Horn reaches Eli just in the nick of time and saves him from a certain death by decontamination chamber. This summer only in theaters. The Decontamination Chamber. Rated R. This film is not rated for children or people who are easily offended. But of course, Eli confronts Dr. Horn about pairing. I know about pairing now. Dr. Horn? Or is it Dr. Thorn? I can't tell anymore because you're so shifty. Just shifting your name around. Like shifting in your chair. Some weird shit like that. Shifty doctor. And she's shocked and appalled. And then he cuts himself on some shit and passes out. And then Dr. Thorne in the next scene is telling the dad that he is not accepting the treatment and she needs to give him more medication. Diapasm to prepare him for the final countdown. We're living together. For the final procedure, but the mom says that she's the one to give him the medication. I'll give him his pills. I am his mother after all. And the mom believes Eli that he's seeing shit. He just doesn't believe that what he's seeing is real. Okay. She hands him a sleeping pill. Here, Eli, you need to take your medication, okay? Before I call the manager on you. Mom, wouldn't you be my manager? Oh, you're right, Eli. I totally would be your manager. Oh. Anyway, take the medication. And he swallows the pill, but he's a magician. He's shifty. He fixes it and pulls it out. As she's hugging Eli, Eli sees the number 317 on the cupboard. Or the word live was interpreted as the number 317. Far-fetched? Maybe. They've expressed it as well. A code for something, certainly. And in the next scene, Dr. Shifty Thornhorn, Dr. Shifty Thornhorn is burning his Bubble Boy suit. Fascinating. And it's nighttime now, and Eli ventures forth looking for the door that is opened by code number 317, and he finds it. Beep, beep, boop, boop, boop. And the door opens, and he enters the medical wing again. And he tries the first door, but he jiggles the knob, and it's locked. Huh. There's a code on that door, but not this one's locked, but this one doesn't have a code. How am I supposed to open this thing? There's no beep, beep, boop. There's no keypad. A what? A key? I've never heard of that word. Is that Spanish? La key? La key? Is that like, I don't know. I'm just gonna move on. So he moves on and keeps walking, and he finds that Dr. Thorne also sleeps in this wing, and she's just snoring away. And she's asleep, and he keeps wandering, and he finds some files. A file cabinet. Meanwhile, the parents are upstairs arguing about what the dad talked about with Dr. Horn. You need to tell me what you and Dr. Horn were talking about. Ha! Who do you think you are, my manager? That'll be the day, Karen. I mean, Rose. That'll be the day. I'll tell you nothing. But Dr. Horn hears the commission and the commotion, not the commission, the commotion, and walks out. And suddenly a cabinet whispers to Eli, but it's locked. He jiggles it. But of course, he's a magician. He knows how to pick locks. And he grabs a couple of paper clips and he just picks the lock away. And he finds a file. And he opens that file, and in it he reads that it says Perry, Agnes, and Lucius. And they all died after the third treatment. And now Barb, who's also wondering, notices that Eli now knows what happened. Because she sees the open files in the room that was locked. But now he entered and opened the door, and now Barb is inside. And Barb is suspicious. And she runs out. Well, she power walks out with a purpose. And there goes Barb, power walking her way to Dr. Thorne. In slow motion, she reaches the door. And this continues for 3 days because she walks so slow. And now the mom is packing and she's ready to go because the dad won't tell her what Dr. Horn were talking about. And Dr. Horn comes in thinking that she can save him. Eli goes to his parents' room and enters, but there's a mosquito inside, that same mosquito that looked at him earlier like in a very delicious... That little bubba boy. That little bubba boy sure look good. I'm just gonna prick him. Little bubba boy with that delicious bubba boy blood. I'm gonna prick him. The mosquito kicks. Don't be a mosquito around here. And the dad comes in and he kills the goddamn mosquito. Eli is trying to tell his dad that Dr. Horn is a psycho. Dad, Dr. Horn is a psycho. He's trying to inject me some shit. Dr. Horn is the... Dr. Horn? This whole thing here. Oh, this needle? Oh, don't worry about this, boy. It's just gonna... I'm just gonna... And the dad betrays him and injects him with some substance, a tranquilizer, of course. And now they're walking him over to the OR again. And he's looking for the files and confronts Dr. Horn about the murders. Dr. Horn, now I demand to speak with your manager. Okay? Because I am not going to be like those 3 others you killed. I found the files. And I am not going to leave until you, number 1, show me your ID. I need to know exactly who you are because you're a shifty doctor. I saw you shifting in your chair. You're a shifty doctor and you killed 3 people. Okay? Eli runs because Dr. Horn and everybody else starts to chase him. But he finds a very mysterious picture of Dr. Horn. And it's not just Dr. Horn, Maddie and Barb are also included in this picture. And they're all wearing non-outfits. And then suddenly a mosquito leads him to a secret chamber where he finds this giant cross. And then the parents find him in a chamber. But they lock him in. They're in on it. What nefarious reasons do they have for locking him in? Says the mosquito who didn't die earlier. I'm gonna prick this little guy. He's delicious. And he passes out. And when he comes through, he realizes that this external chamber, which is not part of the bubbled off house, is a perfect breathing environment for him. He's fine. Everything will be fine, buddy. Well, this sumbitch is 88 miles per hour. We'll send you back to the future. Eli. But then, everything will be fine. And then the mom comes in and sees him and she says, Eli, I want to share something with you. You were never allergic. You never had SCID. Sorry. Mom, I demand to speak with your manager. Oh, Eli, I only did it to protect you from the world. The world is a scary and cold place, Eli. And you have a warm heart and warm lungs and warm feet and a warm stomach and capable of setting things on fire. Huh? What? Are you talking about SCIT right now, Mom? Oh, Eli. You have to see the procedure through. And then Eli pretends like he falls asleep. And then his mom enters the chamber and it just knocks her out with that cross or some shit, and he escaped. And then the dad chases after him and Evo. And Eli continues to run and he nearly reaches the exit, but he locks himself in the atrium and he tries to smash that son bitch with the fire extinguisher. I'm coming! I'm coming! But it doesn't work. You can't get it. And then Haley says he can do it. Oh, why is this causing such nasty noise? It's off. It's off. And he tries to smash it, but it doesn't work. Haley says he can do it. And then the manager mom, finds a knife in the crucifix and she pulls it out. And then she pushes open this lid on this tomb where Eli was. And sure enough, it's the 3 children that died during the experimental treatment by Dr. Nunn. Or should I say Dr. Shifty Thornhorn Nunn. PhD. And then the mother confronts the dad. But the dad betrays the mother and hands the knife to Dr. Shifty Thornhorn Nunn, PhD, MD. And Dr. Horn says that, Eli, I know this doesn't make much sense to you right now, honey, but the disease that you have comes from inside. It comes from within. And she prays. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. And she performs some kind of religious blessing and ceremony and starts dousing him with holy water. Help me, Lord, help me. Jesus Christ Almighty, release this disease from this young man. He is but a boy, and we are here to save him. Praise the Lord, Jesus Christ Almighty. Praise the Lord. Huh. And Eli screams in pain as she's saying all this. Praise the Lord. It burns. Why does praising the Lord burn? Oh, what's going on? It's this SCID. It's so weird. And then, hold on a second. He starts burning his restraints. There's fire from his wrists. What? May this dagger purify this demon soul. And she's about to stab him, but he prevents her using the force. He prevents her from stabbing him and then forces the dog to stab herself. Oh, Lord, I'm stabbed. Oh, Lord. Oh. And Dr. Thornhorn, non-PhD MD, stabs herself. And he burns through those restraints and he's a goddamn demon. How could I be so blind? And he screams and he forces the staffs to float upside down and they cross. And then he suddenly, the sheriff, can you explain to us the situation that is about to happen, Sheriff? Well, what done reckon happened here is well, he done be a demon, and he knows that he's gotta burn them nuns to the ground. The only way you can get rid of those nuns is by setting those sons and bitches on fire. Woo! Thank you, Sheriff. And they're floating in a circle around, upside down, in one of the coolest visuals I've ever seen. They're in the form of a cross. And he sets them on fire, and the mother says that she prayed, "Oh, Eli, I prayed for you. I really did. But the manager upstairs didn't answer the call. Instead, the manager downstairs did. The devil always lies, Eli. He always lies. Damn him. Such a terrible manager." And the dad is about to stab Eli. But that dad's head is closed. And he did now. And as Eli releases himself from the restraints, the demon Eli releases himself from the restraints. And he's walking out, slowly but surely. Every step he takes, he sets the floor on fire. And then Haley shows up and says that they're half brothers, and she's his half sister. And she's going to take him to see Dad. Oh, wow. And they jump in the mother's Jeep and they ask the mother to come along because they're underage and they can't drive. And they drove off to see the dad. And that's it. Wow. Billy? What an interesting story, honestly. Yeah, I really liked it. Well told. Here you go. Obrigado. Molto obrigado. But yeah, that's it. Interpretation of ending. You want to take a crack at this one, Billy, before we give it a rating again? Well, I mean, not much to interpret here. You know, he's the half child of the devil himself. And so with Haley, and you know, they don't explain too much backstory on anybody or why that happened, but it's very clearly they're gonna go see the devil now, and yeah, that's the. I think that's gonna be the only interpretation you need. Agree with you wholeheartedly, Billy. And now, rating again. I am going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. It was a great story. It really was. It was a great story, but unfortunately, not enough backstory. I needed more world building. I needed to know more about what was going on with these characters before they reached this point where they needed to join or to go to this building. Anyway, 7 out of 10 for Eli. If you were still here for some reason, still listening to us, congratulations. You made it to the end. Recommend me a movie, TV show, absolutely anything or everything that I can review. I want to talk about it, and I want to talk about my socials before my producers start bucking into my ears. Follow us on the TikTok, the Instagram, the YouTubes, and the Facebook. And if you're not watching, you're missing out on my little end of show dance. Congratulations and thank you. We'll see you again next time on Rick's Horror Movie Review Show.